Despite goodwill, humans cannot be intimate without the risk of mutual harm, leading to cautious and tentative relationships. It is wise to be guarded with others for fear of getting hurt and also fear of causing hurt. The dilemma may encourage self-imposed isolation. I've covered this in a multitude of videos because it's something that's incredibly relatable to me and a large conglomerate of people. It's something I deal with daily. It's something that will forever haunt the human experience. April 6, 2011, while I was shitting my diapers and watching Adventure Time, one of the greatest romance recreational manga, Your Lie in April, was published and destroyed anime and manga fans' souls with its heart-wrenching story and twists. Exactly 3,655 days later, its legacy was inherited by a sports romance hybrid that then ruined now 19-year-old Mabi for the better, changing his outlook on manga and giving him one of his favorite ongoing stories today. It's pretty common that I find myself searching for a good romance story as someone who's a huge advocate for it, both in real life and on the internet. Whenever I come across one, be it a video game, an anime or manga, a novel, or anything in between, it's like a new mountain to climb all over again. From Nana to The Fruit of Grisaya to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, all the way back to Kaguya-sama, I love romance stories. And anyone who knows me also knows that growing up, I loved to play sports. Soccer, basketball, volleyball, badminton, anything but American football was fair game and I was always willing to try it out. And of course, the same sticks with fiction. Like Mike was one of my favorite childhood movies. Haikyuu and Aoashi are two of my favorite anime of all time. And my biggest influence in my life is Stephen Curry. So what exactly happens when you mix the two together and create a compelling coming-of-age story about two teenagers in love with their respective sport and each other? You get the potential for something euphoric and magical. Blue Box is without a doubt my favorite ongoing manga, not counting Aoashi because Aoashi is on some kind of insane release schedule where I don't really understand the release schedule as an American citizen, but that aside, Blue Box is a must-read recommendation, and it will guarantee be in everybody's top 5 by like 2028. I don't know when we're getting season 2. The story follows Taiki Inamata's love story for the sport of badminton and Chinatsu Kano. Although Taiki is technically the main character here, the story never fails to switch to the perspective of Chinatsu to authenticate its plot twist and story. The two end up moving in with each other because of Japanese rules that I can't relate to in America, and from there their love story blossoms. When I mentioned that the story never shies away from switching perspectives, I also meant the other characters too, who unlike in other romance manga tend to take a back seat. Here in Blue Box, the characters all feel cared for and respective. None of them feel neglected, which is actually my big problem with extremely long and popular manga. It's rare that a story can handle 10 plus characters in the side cast and give them all the spotlight and respect they deserve. They eventually become antiquated in stories like this, whether it's due to power scaling or the story just doesn't need them anymore. Some stories kind of just keep them on screen because you can't have everyone win. They were important before, and even at points within the story, these forgotten characters get a little seasoning, but they never end up being what they once were. In Blue Box, one of the things I think keeps the story so interesting is that it's neat, tight, and compact. Its smaller cast helps the reader digest the story, and this coupled with its extremely smooth pacing creates the perfect story. In fact, I was never bored or disappointed with a chapter of Blue Box. It never derailed or felt like it was losing itself. The storytelling in each previous chapter kept it from doing so. This is the perfect way to write manga in my opinion. Not only could I not put Blue Box down, but it felt like a guilty pleasure to read it, like a piece of candy that has no negative effects on your health. The romance, however, is poisonous. The poison will never kill you, but it will make you sick because of how the author plays so heavily into realism. Painting pictures both literally and figuratively on panel, they play off the ideas of selfishness, altruism, and the hedgehog's dilemma. On the surface, Blue Box is a decent, okay story about sports and teen love, but behind the surface, it's a nuanced psychological study that goes more in depth than a lot of adult stories can. Now add a ghetto and rough but a graceful and polished art style, and you can see why I'd absolutely recommend this and why I love it so much. It's suave, it's sumptuous and refined, but never strays away from the fact that it's vicious in a lot of its storytelling. Sometimes in manga, the panels speak to you far more than any kind of animation can because it's a direct canvas for the author's thoughts. That's not to say that anime is not, that would be false-hearted, but I much prefer manga in this sense. It speaks to you more because of the lack of movement or sound. There's a specific intimacy you gain with the characters and story that way. I brought up Your Lie in April earlier, and while Your Lie in April is both daunting, wretched, and comfortless at times, I think sometimes it shies away from being happy. It's vulnerable, but not in a hypersensitive or positive way as much as I'd want it to. Blue Box takes these things and honestly turns them up a notch because the reality of Blue Box is even though the stakes are high, they can always be lower. That's the beauty of coming of age stories. You think everything matters when you're younger. You think the last job you got fired from or had to quit is your last job. You think the girl you were in love with was the last girl, but it wasn't. You think that the game you lost was the last game, but it's never over until it is. The love that you feel will be back eventually. The victories you do receive will be back eventually. The last snowflake of winter, the first raindrop of spring, the hot sun in the summer, the harsh winds in the fall always return, which is why I love and cherish Blue Box. I hope you take the time out of your day to read it because it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and we're witnessing history right now because each chapter blows my mind more than the last. That's the end of the video. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell if you like my videos, or don't. It's whatever. It's Mabi, the guy who does anime reviews, recommendations, rants, retrospectives, and more, and I'm out. Peace.
Wait a minute, Mob actually recorded a fucking manga video? Who the hell would have thought about that?